никто не будет его там так сильно гнать. Вот и все.
А сколько у вас в штате переводчиков и как, где, когда вы их выбираете?
Сейчас их 150, набираем их всегда, везде, по-всякому. Вот. Я сам переводчик, я выпускник МГЛУ, факультет иностранных языков. Почти каждый, кто хоть как-то там был, хотя бы заходил там на НЯС, уже со мной поработал. Вот кто-то отказался и сказал, что ни за что не будет, кто-то понял, что это его, в принципе, видение. То есть у меня были случаи, когда переводчики, которые по 8 лет работали юридическими переводчиками, да, и говорили, что я уже всего как бы достиг, я вот нашел свою нишу, свои деньги и так далее, они отказываются потом целиком от как мне кажется, более денежных работ, потому что они становились фанатами всего этого, потому что аудиовизуальный перевод это не только как бы просто работа, это еще и некая такая очень интересная миссия, потому что мы делаем что-то, что потом смотрит большое количество людей. И вот это вот чувство такого как бы, сопричастности, оно очень как бы велико, да, то есть мы делаем что-то на большое количество как бы зрителей, да, то есть мы в некой степени причастны вот к этому актерскому мастерству.
И все-таки по вопросу оплаты такой же вопрос. Вот работаешь над одной серией, сколько получается, как вот за минуту там идет оплата, или за целую серию, за целый сериал, потому что тоже мы идем работать, и надо же знать, на что нам рассчитывать.
То есть я не знаю, то есть могу ли я как бы свои ставки открывать, потому что не будет ли у нас здесь такого. В целом, я переведет там, на серии 5, да, подаст работу, но никто не будет его там так сильно гнать, вот и все.
А сколько у вас в штате переводчиков и как, где, когда вы их выбираете?
Сейчас их 150, набираем их всегда, везде, по-всякому. Вот. Я сам переводчик, я выпускник МГЛУ, факультет иностранных языков. Почти каждый, кто хоть как-то там был, хотя бы заходил там на НЯС, уже со мной поработал. Вот кто-то отказался и сказал, что ни за что не будет, кто-то понял, что это его, в принципе, видение. То есть у меня были случаи, когда переводчики, которые по 8 лет работали юридическими переводчиками, да, и говорили, что я уже всего как бы достиг, я вот нашел свою нишу, свои деньги и так далее, они отказываются потом целиком от как мне кажется, более денежных работ, потому что они становились фанатами всего этого, потому что аудиовизуальный перевод это не только как бы просто работа, это еще и некая такая очень интересная миссия, потому что мы делаем что-то, что потом смотрит большое количество людей. И вот это вот чувство такого как бы, сопричастности, оно очень как бы велико, да, то есть мы делаем что-то на большое количество как бы зрителей, да, то есть мы в некой степени причастны вот к этому актерскому мастерству.
И все-таки по вопросу оплаты такой же вопрос. Вот работаешь над одной серией, сколько получается, как вот за минуту там идет оплата, или за целую серию, за целый сериал, потому что тоже мы идем работать, и надо же знать, на что нам рассчитывать.
То есть я не знаю, то есть могу ли я как бы свои ставки открывать, потому что не будет ли у нас здесь такого. В целом
I think that the rise of Netflix, the rise of streaming services will be very important for the industry. And I also see a very welcome swing back to an emphasis on quality in the subtitling industry, and I think that will permeate the whole industry. But I also think something else that Chris said this morning, that there will always be clients for whom the presence of subtitles is more important than the absence of subtitles, and it doesn't really matter what those subtitles look like. And I'm hoping that what we will see is more honesty in that, sort of more transparency in that respect, so that those people who are wanting to pay for quality will be transparent about that, and those people who actually would just rather have some subtitles will also be transparent, and from an LSP point of view, that too. And my last little point is that I do think, we haven't mentioned it yet, I don't think much, but Andrew did this morning, I do think that machine translation and automated tools will become increasingly important. I think as an industry we lag behind the rest of the translation industry in that respect, and that's something that we will eventually have to embrace whether we like it or not. So I'm going to hand over now to Christian, who's going to give the perspective of the freelancer.
My name is Christian Nikolic. I wear 3 hats.
Competitive hat wearing.
So what brings us together is UCL. I'm an honorary research associate at University College London, when I work on research projects and some other projects as well. And Lindsay is very modest, but she was just finished her PhD at UCL. So this is what brings us together. It's UCL. I'm also an academic at the University of Zagreb, which is my main job. And I represent freelance perspective because this is what I've been doing for the last quite a few years. I won't say how much, but over the last 2 or 3 years I haven't really worked much as a freelancer, but I started my career as a freelance subtitle. So I'm sharing the chair with Amalie Foss, who is a real freelancer from Denmark, and Amalie is the newly elected president of Audiovisual Translators Europe, so she's going to introduce herself.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I am indeed. The ABCE is a federation, and we bring together all the organizations and associations of the various countries, and we try and work internationally. So many of the companies are the same across borders, and so many of our problems are exactly the same. And also, we're much stronger together. It's going quite well, I have to say. I'm almost surprised. But we have Slovenia was added today, so we're now 14 countries. It's pretty good. I also head up the subtitles section of the Danish Union of Journalists, at the Danish Union of Journalists. So you find out a lot about how many things we have in common across national borders. And if you want me to say a little bit, Christian, about what I think the future is for us, I think the past is the new future, in the sense that some things remain the same, no matter what changes around us. And the reason that subtitles, I mainly speak about subtitles, I'm sure the same is the case for dubbers and so on, but for subtitles, the reason we kick against new technology is when it's hasty, thoughtless, doesn't really work, has been dreamed up by an engineer and an academic, has no basis in the real world, doesn't help us a bit, and is used to drive our fees down. This is where we dislike it. We love it when it's good programs that work for us. Then we absolutely revel in it and support it wholeheartedly. So it's not what you develop, it's how you use it. What's it based on? Does it work in the real world? And then we'll love it. What remains the same is that there's somebody over there, they dream up a story of some kind, and there's somebody over here who translates the story. And that's it, in a sense, from author to author. The story is transmitted, or disseminated, or whatever the word is, to audiences across borders. So that remains the same, and it must remain the same. And this is why I say the past is the new future. And sorry, it's very difficult to have notes. So you translate, you read, you proofread, you make sure it's good. So if you want quality, you go on doing that, and you accumulate experience. And you also, the thing about what you were saying this morning, Chris, about Netflix is very encouraging. If one of the big players in the market says we're going for quality, and we're willing to actually pay a little bit more for good quality work, because we've obviously realized that there is one position worth having in the market, and that is the position of the expert. And it's enormously encouraging for us, because it could drive up quality everywhere. In that big sort of 80% of the market where it's been way down, and has not been valued at all. And another thing about the future is that production companies, TV stations, all these people, if they learn to think ahead, and if they contact the translators, the translation company, the subtitling company, whatever, the translators directly, the people they use, if they contact them at a much earlier stage, instead of having their product and thinking, oops, it's going to the film festival, or it's going to be aired in 20 countries in a week, and oh, we need some translation here. The earlier in the process that you connect your translators into other languages, the better your product is going to be. And that is a promise for the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So our next guest is Chris Bettner. He doesn't need introduction, I believe. So Chris is going to say what he expects or maybe foresees in the next 5 to 10 years.
Okay, so first I'll say I am an engineer, and I'm trying to pay you more. So hopefully I'm a good engineer, right? So, you know, I think that the world is getting very small because of the internet, and that people are enjoying content from all over the world. And the only way they're able to do that is by having localized experiences, right? So you take, we have a show called Narcos. I don't know if anyone here has seen that show. That show is done by a 150-year-old film company. It's a French film company. It was produced, so it's a French film company produced in South America, and it's one of our most popular shows in German, right? So explain that. I can't. But good stories travel well, and as long as they are retold in the local language well and faithfully and with high quality, they can be enjoyed throughout the world. And I think that platforms like ours can do that sort of at a global, with like a global look that perhaps broadcasters can't, because they tend to be very focused in sort of that market. And so I think that there will be more companies like ours. There are more companies like ours. There are regional OTT platforms that are not, you know, traditional broadcasters. And so I think that the demand for good quality assets is going to continue to grow. And I think that it is something that people are going to realize, that to have a successful business, especially globally, they need to have and invest in localized content. So content that is accessible to people. I do think that technology plays a part in it, but I don't think that it replaces the person, the actual human touch that happens with localization. I think it can be used to make certain things go more quickly. But, you know, I read a really great book I encourage all of you to read called Humans Are Underrated. It was a bestseller in the US, and it talks about how, you know, really you can't replace certain human things. And actually, I think Andrew said it really well, that computers do things that are really complex to humans easily, but can't do things that are very easy for humans to do. And I think that's a really true statement. So looking at facial expressions or translating something in a beautiful way that is understood and enjoyed by people is just really tough. And so we see technology as a way to get at the best resources, to help the best resources be very successful at doing high quality, but certainly not to replace them. And we see that probably for the next, you know, decade or so as